How y'all doing? For this review, I'm going to go over a tabletop game called Rangers of Shadowdeep, published by Mordifius, and this has a range of miniatures that goes along with it by North Star Miniatures. So what's this about? Well, it's a tabletop miniature game where you play the role of a ranger. You create the ranger similar to how you make a character in a tabletop role-playing game, but don't worry about the role-playing part. This is strictly a miniature game. Although if you want to put some acting into it, that's up to you. So let me tell you the first couple paragraphs of the introduction just to really tell you what it's all about, because it's much better than what I can give you. Alright, so here we go. Welcome to the dark and dangerous world of the Shadowdeep, a vast realm permanently covered in black clouds, where evil plots and breeds. Over the passing centuries, the Shadowdeep is slowly expanded by collapsing the kingdoms on its borders and swallowed in beneath its rolling clouds. Now a new kingdom stands upon the brink of that sea of darkness. The king knows it is only a matter of time before his land is also consumed. He has sent out a call to every realm, a summoning of heroes to come and stand against the darkness. Help, however, is far away if it ever comes. For now, the defense of the kingdom falls upon the Rangers, a band of highly skilled warriors trained to operate independently or in small groups to track down and fight against the creatures of darkness. It is our duty to descend into the Shadowdeep to gather information, rescue prisoners, launch raids, and fight a delaying action against their foes. Theirs is a war that cannot be won, but every small victory is another day for the people of the kingdom. Another day of life and hope. If the enemy can be kept at bay long enough, who knows what miracles might occur. That's the first couple, that's the first paragraphs of the introduction here, so that gives you an idea about it. And this does have some illustrations there. Many, very simple, straightforward. Definitely gives you the theme about that. If you like the concept of characters like Aragorn, the Ranger of Lord of the Rings, or characters like the North Watch from Game of Thrones, who guard the North, or if that sort of thing intrigues you and the tone and atmosphere about that, this is a game for you. So you create, this has solo rules and as a group. You could play up to four players, or you can play by yourself. Now, of course, if you play by yourself and just make one ranger there, the problem could be is that you're probably going to be outnumbered to the events that will happen here. So you can either make other ranger characters, or you could have your ranger accompanied by individuals like fighters, wizards, and stuff like that, scholars. Let me see if I can find that section for you. So let's see. Because the companions that you have an arcanist who's good at has his knowledge, could be useful. Archer, barbarian, conjurer, guardsman, hound, knight, men-at-arms, raptor. Now, why can't you make characters like this instead of rangers? Well, the companions have a very simple one line of information, their skills, and that's they don't have much compared to the ranger you create, but what they do very well. So they kind of, say for instance you make a ranger that's good of a fighter, may not be good at picking locks or reading scrolls or using magical items. That's where these come in. Now, I have collected several of the miniatures in this line. The miniatures for Rangers of Shadowdeep are made by North Star Miniatures. They also do the Frostgrave. In fact, for many of you who already played Frostgrave, this is a similar thing. Frostgrave is a similar game like this. Instead of making a ranger go on missions, you create a wizard and he brings in companions to go out to explore a dead city for artifacts and what have you. So, similar types of gameplay. Many of you are probably familiar with Games Workshop's Mordheim. Same idea. You create a small war band to go out against into this dark city, and this is a similar one, but it's more flexible. You don't have to get miniatures specifically for this. You can get proxies. As I say, while North Star Miniature makes the official miniatures of the game, you may not have access to that, or it may not be the ones you want, but that's okay. This game highly encourages you to use whatever you can so you can play the game in itself. So Reaper Miniatures has plenty of options. I've even found a few from Ironwind Metals, and I'll show those off here. So well, let's see. I've collected several of the miniatures. Let's take a look and see what we have to show. So here is an example of the artwork that they use on the cover of the book and in interior as well. You can see it's a ranger there traveling through the dark, grim forest with a severed head and a sword in his hand, ready to fight whatever's coming after him. And here is the miniature that they converted to, the back of course, just to show you how faithful reproduction they made upon from the drawings to the miniatures themselves. And here's the front of it. It's just, these miniatures are not disappointing at all.
and I think they did a very good job with it. Here's another example of one of the interior pieces of artwork. It's very nice, and and it's a ranger with two swords finished fighting a gnoll. And now here is the miniature that they derived from that. And very faithful reproduction, all this. Now I haven't looked at all the books, so I don't know if all the rangers are derived from the art in the book, but it'd be neat if they did. But, of course, we have female characters. I mean, this one has two blades that wield. But rangers can also be equipped with spells as well. So they have a magic user one. So you have represent that. And, of course, if you want more that's long range, you have a female archer, ranger as well. And I think that's just a wonderful variety to have for that. Now here's one of the art pieces of the book, and you can see this as as one of the standalone pieces there of a ranger just smoking a pipe, waiting for something or what have you. But they made a miniature of this one all the same. May look weird on the tabletop there, but maybe you like a character who's laid back and who's been out for a while and ready for action. I just even though it doesn't look like it's in a battle pose ready to fight here, it's just a neat miniature all the same. Here's another guy, nice simple pose there, just kind of reminds me of the Hound from Game of Thrones there. Maybe if I did the face a bit differently, it'd be just that. And the next one you're seeing right here, this one I particularly like there, has that wonderful stealth or stealth type attack about him, ready to fight. Paint him in a brown cloak and gray clothes, as you can see. And it just look, all of them will look wonderful on the table. Now, just to let you know that when you order these miniatures, they come in packs of 2, and for the rangers themselves. And a few of them have single miniatures in it, but those were like most of the monsters. Of course, as wonderful as the North Star miniature range of Rangers of Shadowdeep are, you may not have instant access to that, but that's okay. Other companies have what you may be looking for here. Here's 2 examples of Rangers that they have from Reaper Minis. I named the one on the left Bruce. That's kind of what it reminds me of, Bruce Campbell. Just to let you know, the one on the right with the sword over his shoulder, I had to replace that sword because it seemed the mold wasn't that great, so I chose a weapon to snap it off, just FYI. But I digress. This one right here is a ranger that has a bow and ready for its hand. It's just a wonderful basic example of the type of miniature range that are available. Of course, in a game of Rangers of Shadowdeep, not only do you have the Rangers themselves, you also have companions to tag along with them with their specific abilities that's right for the job. It could be ranging from another Ranger recruit that has lower stats than basic ones. We also have rogues, savages, swordsmen, templars, trackers. You can have animal companions. You can have knights, men-at-arms. So again, Rangers of Shadowdeep miniature line does not have those particular ones directly for the game, but you could choose from their other selections, or you could go to, as I show right here, Reaper Minis as well. This one is I think one of the Pathfinder range, but it can serve as a good savage or barbarian type here. Here's another one that could be as a knight companion, and I customized the shield and everything, so the shield is just a basic round one, but I thought it was just too plain looking, so I added a little medallion on it. But this could serve as a wonderful knight or man-at-arms there for your purposes. And of course, there's also wizards, plenty of wizards to choose from. And if you look around, they could, and look at the artwork, you can find many to where they could fit the theme and just a paint job away. So that's just wonderful examples to choose from Reaper Minis. But Reaper Miniatures is not the only place you can look for, as I wholly try to endorse Ironwind Metals whenever I can. Those who are familiar with Ironwind Metals, they used to be Rao Partha. They're famous for making BattleTech, but they have a whole slew of fantasy miniatures that can, that you can suit your purposes for Rangers of Shadowdeep. Here are 3 examples right here, and the good news is that they're usually a little cheaper than the basic Reaper Minis. These are around $4 bucks, give or take, and compared to the 7 or 8 for the same size model that Reaper does. So, and they're also a nice, good classic look, and they're perfect for your Rangers or what have you. Now, when it comes to monsters, the types of monsters are nothing overly unique. You have your basic stuff, your giant bats, flies, giant worms. You can have ghouls, skeletons, gnolls. Gnolls seem to be a basic monster you'll fight often. But Rangers of Shadow Deep has some, and even from the Frostgrave line works well. But again, if you don't have access to that, you could look for others as well. This Skeleton Knight that you're seeing right here is from the Rangers of Shadow Deep line, but you don't have that in a couple of the undead ones, and the other undead are just like cloaked skeletons with a dagger in hand. But I have a whole slew of other undead I collected over the years. I showed off in my other videos that can fit the bill for any undead I may have. I don't have much of other monsters. That's probably why I'm not showing a basic game. And there's other channels that could show you how a game works. But let's go on here. In one of the expansions here, Blood Moon, it's a scenario where Rangers face off against werewolves, and I have a whole selection of those I could use to play. The game tells you to use whatever you can, and some of these are from both Dungeons and Dragons Plastic Line, and 3 in the middle there are from Ironwind Metals. So they're wonderful to work for your gaming purposes. In the Temple of Madness expansion here, they have this one kind of bestial monster called Agrevek, which, based on the description there, you could use, say, beastmen from Warhammer or any sort of monstrous humanoid hybrid. And I found this from Reaper Miniatures here. It's just, it's described as having a 2-handed weapon here, has horns and everything. So I think this could fit the bill. It's just a search around, you can find whatever you need to load up your tabletop with the miniatures you want to play with.